Everybody's talking about how AI is taking over this industry and that industry and how it's going to have all these crazy effects on the world and the economy, but nobody's talking about how it's literally messing with people's minds. You see, most people in modern times are way too distracted and sedated to even care. As long as they have their social media and their text and their email, they're okay. They don't really give a shit what's happening with AI and the economy and the government because they're just plugged in. Their minds are solely focused on pleasuring themselves in the short term. But then, of course, there are those intelligent people who are like, well, AI is taking away the jobs of engineers and the jobs of lawyers and doctors, and who knows what the future in the economy and the workplace is going to be. Valid question, all right? I'm all for exploring these bigger problems and figuring out, or at least trying to figure out what the world will look like in the future. But what I will say is that I think people are spending way too much time focusing on these bigger and broader issues about AI and the economy and the workplace, rather than focusing on what AI is already doing to their minds into their lives right now. I think AI is creating these deeply rooted psychological issues that people won't even become aware of. And they'll just continue to get worse and worse and worse until society itself is in a pretty rough position. And as I mentioned, most people are too distracted and sedated to even care or to even know that these things are happening. So in today's video, I'll be discussing what these problems are, why it's such a problem, and how you can go about protecting your mind and your life itself despite the advancements in technology and AI as time passes. So first things first, we're gonna go back to the 1990s when the internet became mainstream, when many people, although they maybe didn't have it in their homes, they knew of the internet. They knew, okay, well, it's this online database and I can connect with people and do all these cool things that I couldn't do before, all right? Simple enough. Then in the 2000s, cell phones became more popular. And then in about 2007, 2008, the first iPhone came out from Apple. This was the first smartphone where it's like a computer built into a telephone. And people were blown away by this. By 2012, 2013, social media really popped off. Instagram was gaining traction. Facebook had been around for a while, but it was getting even more popular. Twitter was getting even more popular. Vine, that was a big thing back then. I think Snapchat came out around that time too. Anyways, all these social media platforms came out and more people were intrigued. More people were signing up. By 2015, all these social media platforms had adopted AI-based algorithms for their feed so that when people logged on to the platform, when people opened up the app or opened up the website on their computer, they would see posts curated specifically for them. The algorithm knew exactly what they liked, what they didn't like, and it was feeding them exactly what they wanted to see. The platforms implemented this because they wanted to keep users on their platform for longer. Because the longer people are on your platforms, the more money advertisers can make. The more money advertisers make, the more money they spend paying the platform to advertise. And it's this cycle where the consumer, people like you and I and everybody else who just scrolls and uses these platforms to see what's going on in the world and to connect with others, our attention, our time, our energy is essentially being harvested, as crazy as that may sound, for these advertisers to make more money. And that's why the AI-based algorithms are so powerful, because they keep people hooked. They keep people on these platforms and they keep us scrolling even when we know logically, hey, I probably should unplug for a bit. I probably should step away from the noise. And now it's 2026. It's been over 10 years since AI-based algorithms were implemented onto every social media platform. Along with this, in 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT. And this is in November of 2022. I remember because that was a little bit after I started writing online, and that was about 6 months after I graduated from university. After ChatGPT was released, then we saw others like Claude and Gemini and Grok and many others that I could name, but you get the point. So we have AI-based algorithms and we have LLMs, learning language models. So now people are essentially in this position where we're thinking about AI, what it'll do to jobs and the workforce and the economy as a whole, which, as I said, is valid. But what we're not paying attention to is how these things are directly influencing our life right now. And this, my friend, is a big problem because, of course, the internet started as this thing that could really benefit us. It could really help us. And I do think, by and large, the internet has helped us advance with communication and the spreading of information and acquiring new knowledge from every individual worldwide. It's a good thing. It's provided many opportunities. However, we have become so connected with this external world, with the internet, that we've lost touch with our inner worlds. And this is where the problem lies. Many of us consume so much content that we can't even hear our thoughts clearly. We can't even think clearly when we're presented with an issue. Many of us are always so overstimulated that when there's nothing happening, we feel like we got to get up and do something. And that's, people say, oh, it's ADHD, oh, it's this, it's that. But it's like, yeah, maybe. But a lot of it has come from being overstimulated due to the internet. Along with this, many of us, and this is the main point of this video that I'm getting at, with things like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, we've outsourced our ability to think critically to the machines. So when we're faced with a problem, we don't step back and think, okay, what do I know? What don't I know? What information do I need to gather, and how can I go about solving this problem? Nah, we're like, I want the quick fix. I want the quick fix right now. So let me open up AI. And the list goes on and on and on of ways how we use AI and social media and in the internet, and how ultimately it's messing with our minds. And the thing is, we can logically know that these things are destroying our ability to think clearly, to make quick decisions, and feel centered and calm within ourselves, but we still do them every single day. We still log onto social media. We still check our emails constantly. We still refresh the feed looking to see if our celebrity crush put something online. And it's wild. We do this because the feeling it provides us in the moment, that immediate gratification, is far better than whatever discomfort we're facing right here, right now. Or at least that's what it seems to be. Because after all, the subconscious mind runs your life. It controls about 95 to 99% of your day-to-day actions. And as I've mentioned in many other videos, the subconscious mind also oversees your nervous system. Think of your nervous system like your body's command center and surveillance system all built into one. It's always scanning your environment, scanning how you feel, and trying to figure out, all right, am I safe? Do I feel secure? Am I comfortable with being in the environment that I'm in right now? And whatever that answer is, it determines what you pay attention to, your emotions, your physiological responses to the environment, everything. Because your nervous system, or your subconscious mind, essentially oversees your entire life. Now, the interesting thing with modern society is that many of us are living in what I like to call survival mode, where we're so fixated on making money and hustling harder and being more productive in order to make more money so we can buy more food and consume more and buy things that we really don't need. This is pure consumerism, which I'm going to talk about in much more detail in another video. Anyways, so we're in this survival mode and we're always working hard. When it comes to the workplace, we show up early, we stay late, we hustle harder, we try to be more productive, and all this is for making more money so we can pay the bills, as I said. And on the surface, this makes sense because, after all, we're living in times where the economy is very volatile. There are wars going on across the world. Prices are skyrocketing. It's getting more and more difficult for people like me, Gen Z, to actually make a living and survive, to pay the bills, to do the things that we want to do, because compared to life for our parents and our grandparents, it's way different. The value of the dollar has been losing, it's been losing value for close to 100 years, if I had to say. And yeah, so as a result, being in this survival mode, always working, always trying to make more money and be more productive and be in more places at once, this creates this underlying, deeply rooted chronic stress. And this chronic stress, it lingers. It's beneath the surface of your awareness. That's why you feel hypervigilant, you feel anxious, you're always worried about what might happen in the future. So by the end of the day, you're exhausted. You go home, you kick back, you flick on the TV, you scroll, you indulge in all those short-term pleasures in order to essentially escape the real problems within your reality. This is our modern way of unwinding. It's our way of just kicking back and relaxing. Those 8-hour TV binges, the doom scrolling, the watching movie after movie after movie, and playing video games, doing all these things that feel good in the moment, that are driven by the internet and AI and technology, but ultimately they take away a part of our soul. And I'm not against TV or video games or the internet, but when overindulgence becomes a daily thing, when you're always outsourcing your mind essentially, you're giving all your time and attention and energy to just pure consumerism where your brain isn't really thinking, then this is a big problem because the compounding effect comes into play. Weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and then you forget who you are. You forget how to think clearly. You forget how to go about solving problems within your life that you face on a day-to-day basis. You go to the internet to solve all your problems. You avoid your problems by just saying, hey, you know what? I'll save that for tomorrow, and then you just doom scroll. This is why society itself, my opinion, it's why so many people feel stuck in place. Because sedating yourself with content or video games or TV is the quickest and cheapest way to essentially just escape your life. To push away all your problems and just live in this false fantasy land where life feels just good enough and you're laughing and you're enjoying yourself on a day-to-day basis, but there's nothing meaningful, there's nothing purposeful that's really driving you to do bigger things within your life that you truly want to do. Or maybe you don't even know what you truly want to do because you're so sedated, you're so plugged in, and you've been outsourcing your thinking to AI and social media and search engines for years. So what's the solution? What am I getting at here? Well, I gotta say this isn't necessarily an AI problem. This is not an internet problem or a TV problem or a video game problem. No, not at all. What this is it's a you problem. Your attention, your energy, your time. You are deliberately choosing to spend it in these ways that don't actually serve you. And this is what's keeping you stuck. There isn't some puppet master or wizard behind the curtains pulling the strings of your life. No. It's like we have TV and we have video games and we have AI-based algorithms on social media which are very powerful and they can influence where you want to spend your attention, but ultimately nobody makes you pick up the phone and doom scroll for 3 hours. Nobody makes you plop your ass on the couch and watch TV for 5 hours when you should be hitting the gym and eating a healthy meal and going to bed. Nobody makes you do those things. It's all you. We can sit here and blame AI or social media or the government or our politicians, but ultimately, we gotta look inward. We gotta blame ourselves. We gotta take some damn responsibility. Because otherwise, then these external forces, they win. They control every aspect of your life and you stay in survival mode. Look, I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't. I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the room. I don't claim to have all this money and be living this lavish lifestyle. However, what I do claim to know is that it starts by figuring out what you want. From there, you decide, okay, here's what I want. Then you gotta decide, okay, what do I need to remove from my existing life so I can have enough time to do the things I want to do in order to achieve the life I want to live. Plain and simple. For me, that's making these videos. It's sharing my thoughts and being an educator of sorts. It's working with clients one-to-one with mental performance training and hypnosis. It's writing every day. It's going for long walks in the park. It's hitting the gym. It's eating healthy, doing all these things that anybody can choose to do. Anybody can do. But if you're so plugged in, if you're so sedated by AI algorithms and video games and TV, and you're letting these external forces control your time, energy, and attention, then you won't have the resources to actually do these things. Once you decide what it is you want to do and you remove all those things that are preventing you from actually doing those things, then your brain begins to shift. It begins to seek out new and positive information. It begins to solve problems that you're facing on a day-to-day basis. It begins thinking of these scenarios where you could really execute in this area to benefit your life and the lives of other people around you. This is so powerful. But it only starts when you decide what you want and make the decision, make the full commitment to stepping back and not allowing AI and algorithms and video games and TV to run your life. All right. So, yeah, it's totally valid to worry about how AI is going to affect the government and the economy and the workforce. But rather than focusing all your time and attention on those things and letting it pull your attention away simultaneously on social media, step back from the noise, focus on you. Once you focus on you, life itself becomes a whole lot more enjoyable. So, anyways, I'm getting redundant at this point. I hope this makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this. If you stuck around for this long, then you're awesome. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon.